Hello everyone, I'm DrAdreus and this is my card lab. Today I decided to go through some cards that could be good to sideboard. This is stuff I've gone through like with my own playtesting and also from seeing like what other people have successfully sideboarded in tournaments. So let's go through these cards, and if this information helps you, I hope you give a like to the video and subscribe. So first of all, there's Head Ice Made Fulla, which is really good to sideboard against purple. If you feel like purple is a tough matchup for you, and you want things to protect your spirits from purple core drain removal, you can use this for that purpose. So basically, as you can see from the effect, your opponent's effects cannot remove cores from this spirit or any spirit with a soul core on it. Obviously, a lot of white decks already run this card, but if you don't run it in your main board, even in white or any other color, you can easily put it in your sideboard to deal with purple color, or to like make the matchup a little bit easier. Then there's Dualgun Megalord Dinah. I've seen a lot of people either mainboarding one of this or sideboarding it, even outside of white, because it can make itself unblockable, and at that point your opponent needs to basically just Dream Bomb it. So it can be really good. So I would recommend trying it out to finish some games. Then also Grand Underworld Trio Queen Maduke. There was that one purple deck that also won, that like mained Maduke. Maduke is really good against Gigano Rex and white control. So basically that's the reason why I think it's a good sideboard card as well. Either for purple or in other decks, if you feel like you have enough core, like maybe yellow or green in the future with all the core they can take. It could be a good option against those. Possibly at least. Though of course green might have some other options of their own. I haven't really seen enough green cards to know what to expect from them, but I would still expect Maduke to be a good sideboard card against white control and Gigano Rex in general. And I don't think at least Gigano Rex isn't going anywhere in the second set either. And then there's Angelic Presser. This card, well, generally yellow already runs the card, but I could see it as a good sideboard card also in possibly purple. So with this card you can reduce one of your opponent's spirits battle power by 3000. This is usually what purple can use as an answer for Head Ice Made Fulla, to destroy it more easily and like without using too many cores to it. So this is one of the sideboard cards I said I would probably use to deal with this then. Then Core Drain is also a good card to sideboard. At least currently I'm sideboarding it in the red color decks to deal with the mirror matchup. And in general, a lot of people don't usually go above the 3 cores to level up their stuff, especially if they're not facing purple. So this can be a good like way to get rid of your opponent's stronger spirits for free if you want to put it into the deck. Then this is a card that a lot of people are still sleeping on, Ascension Zero. So with this card, it has the burst: when opponent resolves a spirits when summoned effect, all of your opponent's spirits are treated as level 1 during this turn. Well, basically, if you sideboard it in yellow, you have them at level 1, and then they risk getting their board like wiped out by your flash effects. But even outside of yellow, like this might be really good against purple with the when summoned effects. And also because like if Maduke becomes popular as well and stuff like this, it removes the blood curse effect for that turn. And it basically makes it so that your opponent needs to skip their turn unless they want to just die into a bunch of flash effects. So any deck that runs when summoned effects, this is really good. Then there's Bloody Rain, which is one of the things that you can use against aggro decks. Currently, I'm mostly seeing purple decks themselves run it, but even though I'm personally not running it, if aggro becomes more and more prominent, this can be a good card for that, especially early. Then there's Feral Slash, the promo card that came with the core pack. This is also really good if you want an easier way to get rid of like Nexus stuff. 3000 destroying like burst effect is also pretty good against aggro and some other stuff, so it's also a pretty good sideboard card and also a good way to deal with yellow, I think. So if you're facing a lot of yellow, I think this is also a good thing to sideboard against that. Then there's Firewall, which is also another way to deal with aggro, basically. No other reason than that. Then Stopless Draw. Red already runs this in the main deck, usually at like 3 to 4. But in a meta that's full of like when summoned effects, you can either mainboard it or just sideboard it for those matchups to have like easier draw power. Especially White could probably enjoy this, because that, like White decks, they don't really have any draw power. So it's a really good thing there. Another thing for White I could say that might be good if you need draw power is Netherworld Depths. It might be a little bit expensive to get onto the field, but it does work really well for the deck. And giving White control draw power does make them pretty scary. Then there's Suppression, which is also another defensive card. Obviously used in basically every White deck, but even outside of White, a lot of decks run this at like 1 or 2 in their main boards these days for some defense. It can be really good to defend yourself against like aggro decks as well, and even to like if you run it in stuff like Icanorex, which I currently do, you can get a really high power blocker and make sure you just survive a turn, even like late game. It's basically extra copies of like the Ice Shield that allow you to survive longer. And Burning Force is also a thing that people use a lot outside of Red. But usually people go with like 2 or 3. So this is also if you don't want to use it in your main deck but need Nexus Destruction or more ways to get rid of like aggro, it might be good for that, since it does have the flash effect also to get rid of like 2 spirits with 3000 or fewer battle power. So yeah, it's something I would also say that you should consider if you don't run it in your main board. Then Counter Sword. This is another card to use against the when summoned effects. So it has the burst, select one of your opponent's spirits and return it to the top of their deck when a when summoned effect is resolved by your opponent. So this is a good against like Red Nova and basically purple and almost any yellow deck. Like you can throw away any like card that's actually high cost and things like that. It can help you survive an extra turn sometimes, or simply like get a little bit more momentum. And then it does also have the main effect to heal after that. For now I wouldn't mainboard it personally, but sideboard I would say like 1 or 2 if you are worried about those decks is really good. And then another card that people run a lot in main boards as well is Dream Bomb. So first when you lose a life, select one of your opponent's Nexuses and return it to their hand. It's another way to deal with Nexus cards, like temporarily. And then also it has the main and blast effect to select one of the opponent's spirits and return it to the opponent's hand. So that's also a good way to deal with stuff like Maduke or maybe like Alice in yellow, or well, basically anything with like continuous strong effects like high cost spirits. It's really good against those. Sometimes you can use it like simply to throw stuff away to remove a blocker for a turn, to like get a win, or to simply survive a turn. So yeah, it's a really good card either in main board or sideboard. But yeah, I hope these tips for cards that you can run in sideboard help. If you have any questions or any other sideboard ideas that you've currently been looking at, please do comment below, and I hope you'll subscribe and like the video if this was helpful. Now, thanks for watching. Bye!